Faith is not maintained through one emotional moment. It is strengthened through daily returning to prayer, returning to scripture, returning to gratitude, returning to truth, returning to God, even when feelings fluctuate. Because emotions change constantly. Some days people feel spiritually inspired. Other days they feel numb. But faithfulness often grows strongest during ordinary days, quiet days, unremarkable days, difficult days. There is something deeply powerful about showing up before God even when the heart feels quiet. Not dramatic, not emotional, just faithful. A person kneels beside a bed after a long, exhausting day. A mother whispers a prayer while washing dishes. An old man opens his Bible in the early morning silence. A lonely soul sits in a parked car asking heaven for strength to continue. These moments may appear small to the world, but heaven sees them. Because faith is often built in hidden places, not only in churches filled with music, not only in emotional experiences, but in the private decision to keep returning again and again, even after disappointment, even after doubt, even after failure. This is where spiritual endurance is formed, and perhaps this is one of the greatest lessons many believers eventually learn. The goal is not perfection. The goal is persistence, to keep walking, to keep trusting, to keep returning to the light even after wandering through darkness. Scripture repeatedly shows this pattern. Again and again, humanity forgets. Again and again, heaven calls people back. Not with hatred, not with cruelty, but with mercy, with patience, with open arms. And maybe someone listening tonight needs to hear this clearly. You are allowed to begin again, even now. Even after years away, even after mistakes, even after seasons of spiritual coldness, the invitation still stands. Return, not because you are worthy through your own strength, but because divine love has always been greater than human weakness. And sometimes the smallest step back toward God becomes the beginning of an entirely new life. There is also wisdom in creating daily rhythms of faith. Small, sacred habits shape the soul more than occasional bursts of motivation. A few quiet moments of prayer each morning, reading even a small passage of scripture before sleep, speaking gratitude aloud, choosing forgiveness quickly. Sitting in silence long enough to hear the deeper voice beneath the noise of the world. These practices slowly transform the heart. Not instantly, but steadily, like water shaping stone over many years. Modern life trains people toward distraction, constant scrolling, constant noise, constant urgency. But the soul was not designed to live endlessly rushed. Human beings need stillness. They need reflection. They need moments where eternity can speak louder than anxiety. And perhaps this is why so many people feel spiritually exhausted today. Not because God has disappeared, but because silence has disappeared. People rarely sit alone with their thoughts anymore, rarely look upward, rarely pause long enough to ask the deepest questions. Who am I becoming? What truly matters? What kind of soul am I shaping? What will remain when my life finally reaches its end? These questions can feel uncomfortable, but they are necessary. because a distracted life can slowly become a spiritually empty life. And yet the beautiful thing is this: it is never too late to rebuild a deeper inner life. Never too late to reconnect with what is eternal. Never too late to seek wisdom. Never too late to pray. Some people listening may feel far from faith because suffering changed them. Pain has a way of shaking certainty. A prayer seemed unanswered. A tragedy arrived unexpectedly. A loved one died. A betrayal wounded the heart, and slowly trust became difficult. This struggle is far more common than many realize. Even faithful people wrestle with questions. Even strong believers experience seasons of silence. But doubt itself is not the enemy of faith. Sometimes doubt becomes the doorway to deeper understanding, because shallow faith often collapses under suffering. Yet tested faith can become stronger, humbler, wiser, and more compassionate. Many people discover God most deeply not during comfort, but during brokenness, in hospital rooms, at funerals, during sleepless nights, during moments where human strength completely fails. And strangely, these painful moments sometimes strip away illusion. They remind people how fragile life truly is, how temporary worldly success can be, how deeply human beings need hope beyond themselves. The world often teaches people to appear strong at all times, but spiritual truth teaches something different. It teaches surrender, dependence, humility, the willingness to admit, I cannot carry life alone. And perhaps that admission is not weakness at all. Perhaps it is wisdom, because throughout history, countless souls have discovered that divine strength often enters precisely where human pride ends. Part 8. Becoming a light in a darkened world. Faith was never meant to remain private. Its purpose is transformation. A transformed heart naturally changes the way a person treats others. True spirituality is not measured only by knowledge. It is measured by love, by patience, by mercy, by integrity, by compassion toward those who are suffering. Anyone can speak religious words, but a life shaped by divine truth carries a different spirit. Gentleness instead of cruelty, peace instead of constant bitterness, hope instead of despair. There's already enough darkness in the world, enough anger, enough division, enough hatred. What humanity desperately needs are people whose lives reflect light. Not perfect people, but sincere people. People who forgive when resentment would be easier. People who remain honest when dishonesty would benefit them. People who show kindness without needing recognition. People who bring peace into rooms filled with tension. Small acts matter more than many realize. A comforting conversation, a moment of patience, a generous gesture, a quiet prayer for someone who is hurting. These things may appear insignificant, but they ripple outward in ways unseen. One act of compassion can alter the course of another person's life forever. And perhaps this is part of humanity's sacred responsibility, to become living reflections of the love we ourselves hope to receive, not merely hearers of truth, but carriers of it. Not merely believers in light, but bearers of light. Because the world is watching. Children are watching. Families are watching. The lonely are watching. The wounded are watching. People often decide whether faith is beautiful not by sermons alone, but by the character of those who claim to believe. And this should humble every one of us, because none of us reflect divine love perfectly. We all fail. We all speak carelessly sometimes. We all fall short. But grace allows people to keep growing, to keep becoming, to slowly reflect more goodness over time. Perhaps holiness is not sudden flawlessness. Perhaps it is gradual transformation, a lifelong shaping of the soul, little by little, day by day, choice by choice, until eventually a person becomes softer, kinder, more patient, more peaceful, more filled with love than they once were. And maybe this is one of the clearest signs of genuine faith. Not arrogance, not superiority, but increasing compassion. And tonight, before you close your eyes, remember this. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. Even in silence, even in weakness, even in uncertainty, heaven still sees you. So rest gently tonight. Lay down your fears for a little while. Let your heart be still. And may peace quietly fill your home, your mind, and your soul. Good night, and may God watch over you until the morning light returns.